All right, sir. Episode 4.
Episode 4, everybody, welcome back to the Sagacity Podcast. We had a brief intermission, spring break hit.
Yeah.
Couple of us took some trips, had to attend some things, but we're back, and I'm happy, bro. I actually missed you, bro.
I missed you too. I was the hiatus was nice. It was nice to take a break, but like now that I am the one working on myself and I've been feeling good myself, I'm excited to see where this goes. You know, this is like another level to it.
Yeah. It's crazy because like a lot of shit has happened since we stopped, and we're gonna try to dissect it all, and let's just see where it goes. So I want you to tell me and tell everyone what today's episode is based on.
So today I wanted to talk a little bit more, or what I've been working on recently, and that's confidence. I think I've kind of taken a step back and realized like I was kind of like nervous and being anxious a lot, and I wanted to kind of reset and figure out things that I could do to become more confident. And what I started doing was listening to podcasts and stuff, and I found like these few tips and tricks, and I feel like as I've been doing it in the last 2 weeks, like it's changed tenfold. Like I feel so great.
You know what's crazy is like confidence has been like an overlying theme for what I've been trying to work on for 5-6 years now, ever since like getting into high school. And I think this is a good episode because I know I've changed a lot. And when you came to me and you told me that you were, you sent me a text over break, and you were like, bro, like I'm in my stride, I'm in my groove, like I'm more confident than I've been in a while. And I was just like, yes, bro, like as soon as we get back, that's the episode we're gonna do. Yeah. So how do you want to start this out? Like, do you want to start this out of like how you used to deal with confidence, or like what is your...
Yeah, I'll kind of like going through like a preface of like what I was feeling, and kind of I guess turn into like how it changed and like what habits I kind of changed. But before I was just kind of complacent. Like I felt like in daily life I felt good. I wouldn't say I didn't feel bad necessarily, but I just felt complacent. And then I kind of realized that I wanted more. Like I'm finishing up college now. I'm getting ready to go start work, take a break before grad school, but I wanted my daily like habits to reflect how much like I really care and show that I really am about and on top of my stuff. Yeah. So what kind of changed was like I was like, how I watched like YouTube videos on like how to change your habits, and a lot of it was like the most common thing was like people kept saying go to the gym. Yeah. Like I think definitely there's a huge part of it, because like working out, you get for guys the testosterone, you just start feeling better about yourself. I started noticing like gains that I've been doing, and I felt real good. I definitely think that was one part of it, and I think the other part was something that my dad used to always say, and once I heard it in a YouTube video, it clicked.
Let's hear it.
In the video, something my dad used to always tell me. He was like, "It's gonna be okay." And it's such a simple like thing to say, but to actually like sit down and tell yourself that and know that no matter what the situation is, and telling yourself you're going to be okay no matter what, it made a huge difference. Like the anxiety just went away. Because I'm an anxious person. Like I have anxiety all the time. Yeah. Like and I've changed medications and stuff, like, and I definitely feel it more. The highs and lows are definitely felt more now after stopping the anxiety medication, but the biggest thing was like meditation and telling myself it'll be okay, and that was
so just the concept of you telling yourself it's gonna be okay leads to more confidence. It's like more about realizing that whatever situation that you're in, thinking about how to go about it and not worrying about what's next. Like I was always trying to plan how I can do something, or wherever, like whatever situation I was in, like if it was school, like prepare for everything. And at the end of the day, I was just like preparing so much, and it still was like okay. Like it never was like I knew I could do better. But now I kind of just let the situation happen and react to things how they happen. And I think like number one, the anxiety is diminished a lot. Like I would say I still have it. Like it's definitely not fully gone away, but I'm not sitting there. Like I can tell you, I used to hate waiting for something. Like if let's say I had plans and I had something at like
1 o'clock, and then I had something at 3, and that like hour between, I would sit there thinking about the thing at 3 and be anxious the whole entire time. I could not relax. I couldn't like do anything to just sit there and be like, okay, like I'm gonna get there, but like now I'm just like, okay, like I have an hour to chill. I'm gonna use that time to actually chill, and when I tell myself when the event comes and happens, like you'll be ready for it. You know? Like, no reason to overthink it.
You know what's crazy? When we first left for break, and you told me about, you want to do a confidence episode, I sat in my room and I was like taking a couple notes, and I tried to break it down in sections, and there were common themes that I were coming up with. Basically, I realized that for me, and maybe for everyone, I just don't want to speak for everyone, so I just always say me. Sure. Confidence is like directly a product of like your growing up childhood, like your parenting, like everything you went through during your childhood has a direct correlation to your confidence. So like for example, I've been helping my dad with construction for as early as I can remember, like 5th, 6th grade, and he's a very particular person. Like when you do construction, you're working on somebody else's house. So it's like you have to get every tiny detail correct, or like it's just not going to work. Perfection. You have to strive for as close to perfection as you can. And I was young, and I was like, I'm helping my dad. Like, I'm just trying to do my best, and my best was just never enough. And as a kid, I kind of held on to that. Like he would always, like yell and be like, come on, you got to do better. You got to do better. And I would like, my version of perfect was never good enough for his. So then I would take that personally and think that he doesn't have any confidence in me at all to do anything good.
Same boat.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I can tell, like, same thing with like, see my dad in the same light, like having that like picture perfect dude who does everything right. And you trying to emulate that is so hard. It's such a shot to yourself. It's like, you can do that, but like you don't allow yourself to really think about what you are capable of yourself and how you do things. It's
like the weirdest relationship is between how you obtain confidence, because usually as humans we have a purpose not only for ourselves but for other people, right? So my purpose is to help my family, be a pillar for them. So if my actions aren't good enough to accomplish that, then I will lose that confidence, So is it really having confidence in yourself, or is it being good enough for the people who you truly are living for, and then that gives you the confidence to keep on going? That's kind of what I've been trying to juggle.
It definitely is a balance. Like there definitely is that like who you are, I think, has more to do with it. I'd say like 60%, and then the other people who like rely on you and like want to see like you do the best you can and like project yourself in the way that they know you can. Definitely, I'd say like that's 40%, because I would say like you at the end of the day will like always have to worry about yourself no matter what. Your family will always be there to help you and support you in whatever you do. But I think that with like just growing older, you're gonna have to deal with yourself more often than not. So I think that for me, how I kind of compartmentalize it, it's definitely like 60-40.
Another theme that I associated my life with was when you're younger, even when you're older too, you associate your confidence with your hobbies or your passions or your job. So it's like, for example, if you're good at basketball and you're most confident playing basketball, you're gonna be the most confident when you play basketball. But it's like at the end of the day, when you sit back and remove yourself from that hobby or passion, are you actually confident? And that's more so of the confidence that like I want to focus on, because like, you know what I mean? Like there are things you are great at, and I'm like, Connie, if you can do this for me, like talk about politics, dissect that, you're gonna be confident as fuck, right? But then if I'm like, you just do this something that's out of your comfort zone, you're not gonna be as confident. So it's just like confidence comes with repetition, obviously.
Definitely.
But it's like, there's a saying, they say if you double down on your strengths, you'll end up doing way better than if you focus on your weaknesses. But if you don't work on those weaknesses, when you do shy away from those strengths, does that have a negative effect on your confidence because you've never worked on those weaknesses? So it's like, how do you even work on it then?
Yeah, it definitely like, there's no like obviously set way to go about it. And it's funny, there's like this YouTube channel, it's like Charisma on Command, and I watched a few of his videos, and like one was talking about how like There's like the stance. Like there's like the few, I wrote down a few things that they talk about in that video, and the biggest thing is like to be relaxed. And so it's like when you're not doing anything, like if you're just sitting there and you want to like be seen as confident, it's how you sit. So it's like, you know how as a guy, you see like the really confident people like usually man spread. Like you're taking up space, showing that you have that space.
Yeah.
Or when you're like standing, like you kind of give more of a power pose to like kind of get people to look at your direction. Like that is one aspect of confidence. And it's like, or just you see those people who like stand up straight, you know, allow yourself to like breathe. It's like breathing and relaxing, but it's also like a way that you just tell it's mentally for something. You tell yourself that you're being more confident about yourself. And I think that's a huge part. Like that's just like one aspect there. Another thing is to like that I realized was when it comes to anxiety, it's like you're always trying to prepare, but the thing about being confident, another aspect is like try not to be as reactive. Yeah. It's like sometimes you'll do something like either like uncomfortable or cringy for like what you would say. You know? It's like you do something, you're like, why did I say that?
Yeah.
But don't do that.
Course.
Like stop that. Like I do that all the time, and I told myself, I was like, why? Like why does it matter? You know, it's like you're gonna mess up. People are gonna mess up. It's natural, but stay like cool, calm, and collected under pressure. And like one of the things in the video was saying that the best people who are really good at it sit and reflect. Like if somebody's like throwing like these like harsh or like you're kind of catching a vibe that's like uncomfortable and they're trying to come at you. Yeah. The best people who they handle it is they take a second to reflect and they stay silent and they think first and then they respond. Yeah. And for me, it's like in prior to, I was like always trying to like come up with quick like responses. But then I like watched this video and like watching like one interaction with these two people and just taking a second, letting it come in. The guy who was just taking a second just looked so like on top of it. Like he was like, all right, he strategically knew what to say because he took a second to breathe and actually articulate what he was trying to get across. And it's impressive. Like that's just something that I feel like a lot of people think about, but just allowing yourself to take a break. And I think I was talking about it before too, and I think that we think in our heads that we have to respond faster than we really need to. Like if you're talking to somebody, you can take a few seconds to respond. And I think that like if you can bypass that, then that's another way to come across confident.
Yeah. I think it is people do get that misconstrued because it's like usually when you're nervous you talk really fast, you like mumble over your words, but confidence is like just taking it slow, breathing, lower tone, like just having that like bass and that like that like I have conviction in everything that I'm saying. Right. So it is a matter of just slowing things down. I had a soccer coach in high school, and this has been the basis of my confidence since my junior year of high school when I like played soccer. So I joined soccer, hated the coach. I hated his fucking guts, bro. And my relationship with him was like, it was affecting my play on the field, right? So he called me into his classroom because he was also like a teacher. Right. And he was like, we obviously don't have the best relationship. Like, you probably don't like me, and I'm not the biggest fan of you, kind of thing, right?
Straight up, coach, you tell you like it is.
Yeah, damn. Yeah. So then I was like, yeah, you're completely right. And then
facts me.
Completely right. And then he was like, even if we don't have the best relationship, sometimes you just got to fake it till you make it. Yeah. And that fake it till you make it term has been the underlying theme of what I've been trying to live by. And that is where I was going so wrong. It was like, we're in a fraternity, right? So walk into a party and, you're sober. There are a bunch of good looking people around you who have charisma and all this stuff, and you're not as confident, right? So I would just at the door take a deep breath in. I'm be like, I'm gonna walk in and I'm gonna fake this confidence, and I'm gonna be the guy that I aspire to be, when in reality it's like I'm just living up to these false expectations that I'm just trying to be this person that I'm not. Right. And it's like why do I have to be a perfect person around people who I don't even know, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, like, we have to understand when somebody says to strive. My dad always said strive for perfection, knowing that you'll never actually attain it or get there. And to me, it's like I always took that as in, like, I will always have to grind hard and always be on. But for me, it's like there's also a level of realizing what you're already capable of, and a lot of times you don't take that into consideration. Mm-hmm. And so, like, when I took this, like, 2-week break to try to work on it, I kind of took a step back and was like, okay, like, trust myself, like, trust what I already know and have going for me and that I do well, and see that instead of seeing all the things you don't do well. Because a lot of times you just get caught up in, like, be like, damn, I said this wrong, or like, hey, like, I was talking in this conversation and I said this and it was kind of weird, it's kind of cringe, I was like, and these interactions happen, and you're human, and, like, these things are going to happen. And another thing that I kind of took into consideration is, like, I always was trying to be a people pleaser, because like I want to be respected. Like, I've always wanted to be someone who was looked at as smart, somebody who was just able to handle himself. Yeah. And then obviously, like, you hear all these things, like, you're not gonna please everyone, obviously. And I took that as, okay, like, what can I do now and be like, how can I handle myself better? And for me, like, I realized that I'm not gonna make everyone happy, no matter how hard I try. And so when I realized to stop, like, one of the things I wrote down is, like, stop trying to convince people of who, like, you want to be shown. Like, they're gonna see you as they see you, regardless of like their preconceived notions or judgments are gonna be there regardless, no matter how hard you try.
And it's not even like people are gonna see you in a certain way regardless. It's you're gonna see yourself in a certain way regardless.
Yeah, that so, too.
I'm trying to tie in a bunch of current events that just happened, but you just see what happened at the Oscars?
Of course.
Will Smith?
Of course.
Okay, so
I want to know your thoughts on that. Before you, like, get it, like, tie it together, I'm curious to know. Like,
before I tie it into confidence, what are my thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Do
you think do you think Will Smith is in the right? Do you think, like, or Chris Rock is like, do you, like, I personally don't think it was as big of a deal as people made it out to be, but I can see, like, the judgment of, like, shouldn't have happened? No, obviously not.
Okay, so Will Smith is one of my top 3 role models in, like, all of my life. It's him, LeBron, and Denzel Washington, right? So
it's a good group of guys.
Will Smith preaches a lot about love and all of this. I just think it was just, like, a detriment to his character for him to do that. And I feel like he took up all of the bottled emotions that he had towards other people's opinions about his situation, to how Jade has been reacting.
Right.
All of the anger that he had was just, he was at his boiling point, and that joke was just an excuse for him to just take it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if it was just, like, in the street, he says a comment, sure, but, like, Chris Rock is a professional comedian.
Yeah, exactly.
There is nothing off limits for comedians. As shitty as that sounds,
no, you're totally right.
It's just not. And I think if Jada were to have reacted in a laughing manner, instead of reacting in a I'm pissed off kind of way, Will would have never done that.
Yeah, no, and because I think that, like, you could see him laughing first, and I think he's like, okay, like, it's a joke.
Yes.
And then he realized how salty she was
Yeah.
about the whole thing, and I guess something switched, and he was like, I can't have this. Yeah. I guess I don't understand why that was his instinctual reaction, knowing that where they are, being on TV, like, but I mean, like, well, these are, like, common people talking points.
Yeah.
I guess I that's just baffling to me. But in terms of, like, the grand scheme of things, like, it definitely is, like, drama. And I guess in terms of the Oscars, like, who really watches the Oscars now? You know, like, that was that is, like, the Oscars now. So, like, I guess it makes sense. But in terms of, like, I feel like there's people, like, calling for him to, like, not be able to get movies anymore and, like, not, like, be canceled, basically. And I guess I don't think that's necessary. Like, I think that was just a spur of the moment thing. He was upset. And I guess that's how I see it.
Yeah. When, like, you're younger and you have a bad day at school, everyone's bullying you, and you come home and then your siblings are picking fun of you, and then finally, like, your mom says this one thing, and then you just, like, unleash, and then you're just like, what the fuck? Like, that one thing that just tips you to your boiling point.
Right.
I think that was what Chris Rock did, because obviously it was a shitty comment to make due to Jada's circumstances, because she is going through what she is going through. Mm-hmm. But a comedian takes real life situations and tries to make them funny,
right,
in order to cope better. And you know what I'm saying, that is their job. And I just didn't expect Will Smith to be the guy to have to do that. I think there's a way you carry yourself. I don't think I would ever walk up on stage in front of everybody. And because you have to think about Chris. If you knew Chris's backstory, and that's how I'm tying confidence into this, is like, Chris goes through a lot in his life, and he has no confidence in any aspect of his life besides comedy.
Right.
Like, he suffers in social settings and social cues, and he's not confident with like in any part of his life. He has said it on multiple occasions. And for Will to maybe not have known that, but if he did know that, knowing that this is just where he's confident, and to kind of strip that away from him in that moment, knowing that nowhere else he doesn't feel like a king anywhere else besides on stage telling jokes.
Yeah.
And for Will Smith to kind of not take advantage of that, but I don't know how to explain it, because he didn't take advantage of it, because Chris Rock made a shitty comment, but it's like, I would never react like that. You can always wait it out and talk about it in private, but you can't just react emotionally and then cry about an apology and expect everything to be okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It definitely was like, it seemed spur of the moment. Again, like, I don't get why he was laughing and then it seemed to matter so much. I think that's like what doesn't make sense to me. But
you think maybe it was like a fake laugh to try to, how people fake laugh to try to push away situations? It didn't
look like it, though. It didn't look like he was actually like faking it. Like, he actually thought it was funny.
He's an actor, so we don't know.
I mean, fair. I mean, I don't know what he's going through, but and again, I'm not gonna profess to know, like, and be and get in his head, but I don't know. I guess it definitely is interesting, and I don't really know much about Chris Rock and this stuff, but I mean, like, there's obviously like there is like a lot of pain in comedy too, so it makes sense.
Yes, usually the best comics are the people with like the worst childhoods, and who just find a way to just make light of it. But because my first reaction was, damn, I feel bad, because I've been watching all these Chris Rock interviews, and he's just been unleashing, and I was like, Will Smith, you're one of my role models. Like, why would you react like that in the spur of a moment? And it's like, one moment can make or break you.
Yeah. Especially like in that setting.
Like all of what Will Smith has been proclaiming about, self-love and finding yourself, and all of the years of things and quotes and legendary things as he's just been saying, they're just gonna look at that moment and they're gonna be like, why did you do that then? Mm-hmm. And it just sucks, because I know there's a lot of people who are just gonna hold him to a different standard now just because of that one action he made. Yeah,
no, definitely. I think like in terms of just going back to confidence and relating it to a whole, it's like when you're in that like spotlight all the time, there's definitely like that fake it till you make it attitude. I'm sure that they have to deal with and have to put on, like, even because like you're showing face all the time.
Yeah,
like, you can't even take a break from being that superstar at any point. But I think that, like, again, these things still do apply, and I think if you're able to really like show how you really, and I guess that's the thing, like you were saying, like Will Smith has always showed he looks confident everywhere else. Like, even as like the whole like Jada thing prior to now, like when they were having like their whole relationship thing anyway, like he kept it cool. Like he never really, to me, seemed like he was like in a place of dismay and lost at all.
The only time was when her and him had that one talk, the red table talk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he was just visibly like eyes red and all that stuff. But it's just.
But even still, like that's like, for somebody who goes through that, like, that's holding yourself pretty well. Like, you're like, their drama was out in the open for the world to see, and for the like memes to be made, obviously, and like you're exposed.
Yeah, I think just we can do a whole episode on their relationship in general. I have so much opinions on that, but it's just like we're not going to just dive into that today because it's about confidence. Right. But okay, so say you were Chris Rock. Mm-hmm. How would you have reacted in that aspect? Like,
I mean, I think like I don't think I would necessarily put blame on the situation. Like, I'm not gonna be upset at Will Smith necessarily. I definitely like would expect to talk about it afterwards. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that in the space, knowing that it is comedy, like, would I be shocked? Yeah, of course. Like, I would not be expecting somebody to come up and like bitch slap me on stage on national television. But at the same time, it's like I wouldn't necessarily feel I wouldn't back down either. Yeah. You know, like, I think he handled it very well. Yes, definitely.
Because the reason why I asked is because I was asking myself that, and the first thought that would come to my mind was I would be thinking, what does everybody think about me right now? They probably think that I'm a bitch. Yeah. And that probably shows how much confidence I don't have in myself to just have been able to take it on the chin and be like, you know, he was upset, blah, blah, blah. My first thought was, damn, everybody thinks I'm a bitch right now.
I mean, the thing is, I didn't think that at all. Like, I think he was like, wow, like he said, wow, and like kind of
because he could have really went in on.
Yeah, Will. He could have really went in at that point, and I think that's what I'm saying. I think he handled it very well. I haven't seen like post interviews really, so I don't know how he's acting now, but
it's just a weird conversation. But yeah, I was just trying to. Chris Rock is one of the greatest comedians of all time.
Definitely.
And one of the most wealthy comedians of all time. He's a legend. And for him to just be open in interviews, talking about how comedy is the only place he has confidence, like, you're rich. Like, you can probably talk to any girl you want to or do any, and he still doesn't have confidence. So I think, will we ever obtain actual self-confidence if someone like that can be that well known and that rich and that, you know what I'm saying, that great in their craft, and they still don't have that confidence?
There'll always be like lapses, you know. Like, for me, it's like even within these 2 weeks myself, like, there's been times where I don't feel as confident. Like, there'll be situations where I'm not on. But I think it's like how you can take it and be about it more often than you are not. Mm-hmm. You know. Like, for him, when Chris Rock's on stage, like, he knows, like, that's his element. Like, he's in his element. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to go about things. But elsewhere, he obviously feels, like, uncomfortable. Like, these are things that he hasn't really, like, appreciated or seen things in himself that he can really appreciate to make it shine. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the thing. It's, like, making those things that you have shine in the situations that you're in, you know? I think if you can just be... Like, if you take how he handled that and be cool, calm, and collected, you know, like, I think that's just the way how I envision it.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. Say you have a kid right now.
That's definitely not.
say you had a kid right now, right? And you had to have only 3 rules, and you were like, hey, son or daughter, these are the 3 things that I want you to think about when it comes to confidence. These are my 3 rules that I would try to teach you and embed in you to help you become the most confident person that you can be. Mm-hmm. What would you have those 3 things be?
I'll make it 4.
4 is beautiful.
I'm gonna add 1. I would just say to, like, 1, whatever situation you're in, to be relaxed. Allow things to happen and be yourself, be confident in yourself, and know that you got this. Mm-hmm. Like, eye contact, like, all those kind of things, stand up straight. Another one would be try not to be as reactive, like, allow things to happen and go as the situation allows it to in an appropriate manner. Like, when you look uncomfortable, people will see that and they'll target that or make you try to feel more uncomfortable if they're trying to prey on you. Mm-hmm. Another one would be, again, like, not just try to convince somebody of who you are or what you're made of, because, like, you yourself know who you are. Mm-hmm. Like, to my son or daughter, like, you know who you're going to be, like, be confident in that. And the last one is just, again, like I said in the beginning, like, understand that it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Like, whatever situation you're in, understand that this will pass and you're gonna move forward with this, and you're gonna come out on top, no matter the situation. And even if it's stressful or not as like harsh, like you'll get through it.
So I was watching this Kobe Bryant interview, and he was talking about how one time he had like a summer basketball league when he was like 9 or 10, and he didn't score like a single point the whole season, right? And it's like Kobe Bryant we're talking about, right? He's this young kid, and he said that it was either like his dad or his stepdad or his uncle or one of them came up to him, and they just told him, they were like, whether you score 1 point, whether you score 50 points, I will love you regardless, right? And I think when I'm blessed enough to have a kid, you know, I think a lot of confidence is based on just knowing you have the support of your parents or your siblings through whatever you go through, you know, like
100%.
I know that my family has my back all the time, but I'm thinking, and I'm like, if I was younger and they were just to both tell me like, you know, you're going to struggle a lot, you're going to do all this, but like, no matter what it is, like, we will always love you. And I know they will, right? Yeah. But it's just like hearing those words can do a lot for a child. And I would rather my child have Kanye West delusional confidence rather than them being insecure about a lot of parts of their life, you know?
And definitely it's like that, even when like, delusion is very far, but like there is truth to saying that like when you have this level of sort of ignorance to a lot of things that are outside of your control, like it's good because you realize how much you can really benefit yourself. Like you don't really worry about the other things. And for me, like I like my dad did say these things. Like he's like he would love and support me regardless. But I think I got caught up in trying to be perfect, and I overshadowed like the what I could really be, no matter, and him loving me regardless, to like trying to be perfect, you know. And I think that like I have to tell my child eventually, it's like I want them to realize that like it's okay to be yourself. Yes. And you want to try to work hard. Definitely understand work hard, but like perfection is not necessarily something that's ever going to be obtainable, no matter who you are as a human. Like it's just not.
And I think as I go on, you know, I'm still in my confidence journey, but I like look back and I'm like, bro, you've come so far. Like, just relax, take a deep breath, and just have confidence in yourself. You know, like a lot of people, it's kind of like, you know how a lot of guys can tell a girl she's pretty, but if that one boy doesn't tell her she's like pretty, she won't think she's pretty. Right. You know, so it's more so of a, I've been used to all this positive reinforcement since I was younger. They would be like, yo, you have so much potential, this and this and this.
Yeah, same.
And then when you get into the real world, you don't deserve to be given anything. You need to work as hard. I don't care how much fucking potential you have. Right. You need to put in the same amount of work, and don't get full of yourself thinking like, hey, I have all this potential. I have these intangibles. People tell me that I'm going to be great. And it's like you hold on to those things when it's like, those things don't matter if you yourself don't think it.
Yeah, no, I can definitely attest to that. Like for me, it's like for me, the things that I in these 2 weeks realized how much I've actually done and who I am and what I've accomplished. And it's like, one, being a kid of like who has learning disabilities and wasn't expected to like go to college or do these things, but then like at the same time like finish high school and become, we had what was like the Monticello Award, and like that is like, I want to say our valedictorian, but somebody who is like well rounded in a lot of areas. And then going to college and then losing your dad, and then the statistics of finishing college after that or getting into drugs are a lot higher than me finishing college. Yeah. So now I'm about to finish college, and I'm about to grad school's next. And it's like these things, like I realized how much I actually can contribute, and I've done so far, and it just makes me feel good. Yeah. Like I sat down and thought about that and being grateful about that.
Yeah. I think it's just I need to start, you know, writing these things down, having more gratitude for the little things, and you know, just realizing, why would I ever put another person's opinion on a pedestal over mine? Exactly. And although we all have where we lack and we all have places that we have shortcomings, it's just like, just look in the mirror, accept who you are, and if you truly believe in yourself, I don't think there's anything you can't do. Like, I truly don't think there's anything you can't do. But it's just waking up every day and working to match your passions, to match your beliefs, to match whatever confidence you have in yourself. And I think that's what I need to work on. It's like, I'm already hardworking, but it's like I'm not the most confident in the next aspect of my life. So it's like, yeah, I can work hard at something, but I have to believe in myself first. So once
Definitely.
I believe in myself, it'll be full circle for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's practice. Like, it's something that you're going to get overnight. Like, for me, it's like I'm adding these things to what I already had inside me, and like there's things that obviously I'm better at and some things that I'm not. But I think the biggest thing too is that I realized is that made the switch. It was I stopped lying to myself. And I think that when I would say that I would go to the gym before, I would be like, if I don't go to the gym today, it'll be okay. When in my head I was like, I know I should go. Yeah, I know it's really important. Yeah. And I started being like, I was letting myself down. Yeah. You know, and I was like, I put in perspective, it's like, even if you go to the gym today and you only do 60% instead of the 100%, like, you're going. Like, that's more than you did before. Yeah. And it's like adding those little things, like making it add up. And when I stopped lying to myself, everything kind of changed. Like, I was like, I really do got this.
Bro, I think this is a great closing point. I think we can close on this.
Sure.
I was watching a podcast, and I believe his name was Ed Milet, and he was talking about how self-confidence is not breaking promises to yourself. Yeah. And when he broke it down, and he was like, if you say you're going to do something, do it. But the moment you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you lose that confidence in yourself to actually carry out whatever you're going to carry out.
Exactly.
So it's like, if you want to break it down in the simplest terms, if you say you're going to do something, then just do it. Show up for yourself.
For yourself. More than anybody else.
It's more than anybody else.
Like, that's all you really, like, that's for me the biggest switch. And I think that if you could do that for yourself, like, it's powerful.
Brother, it's been 2 weeks. May have started off. I thought we were going to be rusty, but.
Yeah,
I think we were chilling.
Yeah, I think we were chilling.
Thank y'all for tuning in. I think it was a wonderful episode on confidence. I appreciate my brother Connie for tackling this topic with me. And we will see y'all again next week.
All right, I'll catch y'all. Peace.
All right, let's get it.